Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and some more Dead Man's Hand faction reviews here. So we're going to take a look today at the State Police as we continue our look at Dead Man's Hand Down Under. Now previously we looked at the Kelly Gang and some of the cool stuff that they can do. State Police is kind of the law counterpart to that, and they have some similarities, but then also some key things that they do differently here. So these guys do have to have at least half the gang armed with just a pistol as their sole ranged weapon, so keep that in mind when list building. And then we'll talk about the special rules below. Again, we always we don't really focus too much on like the scenarios that they have in the books here. We just like playing it as like a full-on game, so you know, following the list building restrictions and just kind of going from there. Without some of the other things that these scenarios do for you. So, and again, getting into the State Police here. So we have to have our captain, of course, and then 2 more officers. So this is an interesting list in the sense that it's another one geared towards close range. So again, it's very much mirroring the Kellys, except here we're not stuck with just pistols. We do have some interesting options. So our captain, of course, has to have the pistol. Pretty normal stats there, nothing fancy. And then same thing if you want to run the sergeant. Again, he's our expert shooter, so get him close with a pistol and stack those mods and hopefully start dropping enemies. But it's really in the lower level where this faction gets interesting. So as far as how you want to approach it. So starting with the officers is really where we have our flexibility. Again, keeping in mind at least half the faction has to have pistols. But here we could take a pistol or rifle, or up to 2 of them can have a shotgun. So shotgun is really interesting because this faction can have 4, which is huge. So if you're good with, you know, timing things right and getting the most out of the shotguns as far as, you know, stacking those mods, if you go like double barrel and all that, you know, you really can very quickly put some serious damage on enemies. And, you know, if the dice are with you, really, you know, start dropping opponents left and right. Again, assuming the timing is right. So, but getting it all to fit in here is going to be the key. So pistol or rifle or up to 2 may have a shotgun. So, and this is really where if we want any long range in this list, it's going to have to come here if you take a couple of rifle guys. So then the troopers here, unlike a lot of the other factions where they also have a -1 in their shoot stat, the troopers here are just a base 0 as well. Now they suck in hand-to-hand, so try to keep them out of that, but they're just 1 point with a 0 in their shoot. So that is pretty solid. And here, again, pistol, but up to half can have rifles. Actually, I missed that earlier, so we could get some more rifles out of this if we wanted. So you do have a fair bit of access to sort of long-range weaponry here. That's one way of going about it, but again, up to half can have shotguns here. So the only annoying thing is, again, you have to have at least half the faction with pistols, so you're going to have to take some pistols with officers or troopers. Now, you can advocate for taking rifles on the troopers. Just take four troopers with rifles, only 4 points, plenty of long range. Their average stat, again, they don't have the -1, and then you can double up on the aim and get some pretty quality shots and let your captain and sergeant do the work along with some officers, maybe with shotguns. So that could be one way to go. But the other way of going about it, which I was kind of trying to hint at earlier, is, you know, you could run 4 shotguns in this list and really be scary in close range, because again, captain and sergeant are going to have to get up there anyway to do work with their pistols. But if you can time things right, maybe put a damage or 2 on the opponent, then get in there and blast them with the like double barrels or something like that, you know, you will either put some damage with a nerve test, or maybe you just get flat out lucky and roll those 19s and 20s, start dropping guys. So depending on how that all chains together with this list, you have some powerful options here. So again, you can kind of do a little bit of mix of everything: pistols, some rifles, and some shotguns, or lean more heavily on the rifles and have a fair bit of range, or also, again, go heavy on the shotguns and be very scary up close. So it just really depends on how you want to go about it. And, you know, if you drop the sergeant or leave him out, then you have a lot of points to spend on all these other things, right? Because the officers are just 2+. There's no cap on that. So, you know, by all means, take all 4 troopers with the, you know, I guess up to only half can have the rifles or the shotguns, so I guess you can't get all 4 there. So, well, you're going to have to take a couple pistols then, but again, you have some options. So, but nonetheless, you could still spend points that the sergeant is going to save you if you drop him off, and just load up on other goodies with the officer. So still pretty potent. So either way you go, these guys have some cool rules too, though. I've kept company with bad men all my life. Any character having to take a nerf test or a big nerf test that has a member of the state police gang within 10 centimeters, takes another -1 to their dice roll. So usually we see each faction have some sort of buff that they give, but these guys actually have a debuff. So if they can get close to you, which again, depending on how you build a list, they're going to have to, and start forcing you to take those nerf tests, it suddenly gets pretty scary if you got to stack a -1 on that. So again, kind of leaning towards the shotgun-based build here. Get close, do the buddy system, so you have guys close to each other on your side. Start sort of double teaming, maybe even triple teaming some of their figures, and hopefully get those wonderful rolls that then force a morale check or nerve test. And hopefully with that penalty, they'll fail, and so you start dropping guys. So I feel like if the dice are hot with you and you take advantage of everything this faction does, you're just very quickly going to pile up damage and put them in a bad spot to where they're either going to have to spend their turn hiding and recovering, or they're just dead. And then the numbers game will help you out. And then last but not least, while the captain is alive, the gang never has to take a big nerf test. So somewhat similar to the Kellys with their sort of manipulation of nerf tests and stuff. Here it's just a big nerf test, but by all means, do your best, of course, to keep your leader alive, so that goes without saying. But here, it's nice if things are still looking sour and your troopers and officers and stuff are dropping, you don't have to take a big nerf test as long as the captain can stay alive. So, switching over to their cards. So, the Jack here is an interesting one. So, Justice by any means, play at the beginning of the turn before either side has activated any models. Nominate a single enemy model, can't be their leader. All shots against them are at a +1 to hit for the remainder of the turn. So that is very, very powerful. So like, hey, I want this guy dead or knocked out. Getting another +1 with a shotgun where you get like a +6 when you double barrel. So as long as the dice don't absolutely suck for you, playing this strategically, if you can line up a really good turn, that can be incredibly damaging. So probably one you want to be able to play more throughout the game instead of having in your having on the table for initiative and stuff like that. The Queen, bogged down. Play at any point before an opponent's model has been activated. For the remainder of the turn, each enemy model requires 2 actions to perform its first move. So not huge, but it can seriously mess up a particular model's activation, right? So, if they were thinking about really needing to get somewhere by moving a lot, having them have to take an extra action for that can be huge, especially if it's a faction that doesn't have any other trick up its sleeve where they get a free move with, like the Pinkertons and stuff like that. So, but it could also force, if you're playing against the Pinkertons, well, then they gotta play fair, at least for that particular model. So, not game breaking, but again, played at the right time can really throw a wrench into the opponent's plan. So I like that card. The King, stay down. Play when an opponent receives an under fire marker. Immediately place an additional marker on the model. So again, this faction really, I think, can pile on the damage. So, and just think of the implications of this card. If you put that damage on them, their character, their model has 1 health left, boom, slap the King down, and well, you might just knock the guy out, right? How powerful would that be if you got their leader to 1 health and then boom, hey, you're dead, or knocked out? So huge, absolutely huge. And again, stacking this with things that cause them to already take like a nerve test, so you're forcing them to potentially get like 3 damage out of 1 action, right? You hit them, they got to take a nerve test. You're close to them, they have to take a penalty on that. They fail the nerf test, there's the 2nd damage. Slap the King down, there's 3. You could one-shot some of the lower level guys just by having a normal activation, and that frees you up for other actions to maybe shoot other things. So really cool when timed correctly. All right, last card, the Ace, is Hunted Man. So play at the beginning of the turn before either side has activated any models. Nominate a single enemy model, again, cannot be their leader, but that model just gets to sit the turn out. So huge card, especially if, again, you need to disrupt what their plans are and keep a certain model from obviously doing anything, but more importantly, perhaps moving to a key location. Maybe you've got them in a bad spot and they really need to get out of there. But no, you're just stuck, and you don't get to do anything. So, yeah, gets to take no actions this turn, which I think would also mean that they do not get to like duck back or anything. I'll have to double check on if that really combos like that. But that is a cool card. Again, not their leader, but imagine sitting out there like their elite character, right? For a turn, especially when things are getting pretty hectic. And or again, if you just need a turn to recover and they've got you in a bad spot, well, hey, put their dangerous guy out of commission for a turn. Maybe they're getting close to trying to assault you, or they got a shotgun guy rolling up on you. So there's just so many cool uses for that. So all in all, really powerful cards for the state police here, guys. Let us know your thoughts on the faction and how you would kit them out as far as, are you going to focus on rifles or shotguns, or, hell, you could just go straight up pistols all the way through if you really wanted, of course. But let us know your thoughts on the state police here, and we'll be getting to these guys soon. Got a couple other armies in the pipeline as far as paint. We got to finish the Tong, and then the Mountain Men. We'll have an unboxing for them up as well, so that should be out probably by the time you see this. So hit us up in the comments, guys. Let us know your thoughts on the state police. Like, subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and we'll be back with more Dead Man's Hand.